Welcome to Iceland. Today's video covers a few experiments and starts with a moon halo time-lapse with a dash of northern lights that I shot 2 days ago, or the day when I found out that the northern light forecast was 7 out of 10, which is actually quite rare. It meant that I spent the afternoon looking at satellite images, trying to calculate where the best chance would be to capture the action, because the weather has not been in our favor lately. And after it got dark, I almost cancelled the tour. Satellite images did, however, indicate that there was a little hope to see something through the clouds by the mouth of the deep fjord Eyjafjörður. So I took off to get away from the light pollution so I could see better what was awaiting me. And it was nothing but clouds at first, so I decided to drive into a narrow, dark valley and park in front of the lava spires there. And I have actually flown up there a couple of times, and this can be an excellent backdrop for northern light images. And the northern lights did actually appear while I was there. However, full moon and clouds made the images I shot look weird, so I didn't even bother to process them. And I drove back to Eyjafjörður, where I noticed a little show between high clouds. So I found myself a parking place close to the sea. Not the ideal background, but good enough for experimenting, because my goal was first and foremost time-lapsing. And my regular viewers know that I'm more for videos than photographs, although still photos will always be a part of my work, of course. And the northern light time-lapses, they are tricky. And 99% of the northern light footage out there is not doing the northern lights justice, especially with all this AI out there now. It's just too much fake. And it's only in the last years when cameras got good enough to film the northern lights in video mode, often with a decent outcome. And a decent outcome for me is a file that won't get rejected by stock footage agencies with high standards, usable for whatever project the buyer wants to use it for. But to make a time-lapse from raw photos, where every detail can be extracted from the file, that used to require very long exposure time, or up to 15 seconds, plus the interval between shots. So most time-lapses we see today on stock agencies and on YouTube are extremely fast. And if they would be slowed down, the video would become jittery. And such footage is not for me. So what I was going for this evening was how many frames can I shoot every minute in order to be able to slow down the time-lapses without making them jittery. And although I didn't get lucky with the background when the northern lights finally showed up, the experiment as such came out well, because usually I would have complained over this car driving through the frame. But when I dive deeper into this file, exporting it with different methods, the car will help me to see if there are any unwanted jitters, because I could hardly see any stars, and Saturn was dominating the skies. So as an experiment evening, it came out well for me. And I've never shot a night sky time-lapse so fast before, thanks to the camera investment I made last year. And when I got back to town, the halo was actually still there. And when it came to post-processing, that is when the problem started. My new camera is generating so large files, and that is when my computer said no, I've had enough. So I spoke to Santa Claus, of course. He has a workshop nearby, and it's rather lame that he's not making as fast computers as the Chinese. So during my next trip to the city, likely when the next eruption occurs, I'm going to find myself a used iMac with a good screen and plenty of memory. And this wasn't actually a surprise. I knew the day would come that I would need to upgrade again. And as for the camera gear and my lenses, I am quite well equipped. I cannot complain. So this video was meant to explain some of my thoughts. I have a long travel video in the making. I should have finished it a while ago, but I wanted to color grade and sort all the footage from the summer first and reorganize myself. With all those short trips this summer, my focus was all over the place. So I've been taking some time now to getting sorted, prioritize the production, and make myself a new guideline. And I hope you enjoyed the footage. This video was also a fine excuse to show you just any footage. And I will be back with more soon. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.